Amendment be agreed to, and I give the call to the member for Wright.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We all have landed in a spot, but not all of us have travelled on the same road to get here, Mr. Speaker, with regards to the marriage amendment debate that has landed. And before I start my commentary this evening, I want to acknowledge those that are here in the gallery. The dwindling mob, however they are. They were strong in numbers earlier on this afternoon, and I just want to acknowledge you for the longevity that you have shown and your commitment to this cause. I don't know if you're going to like what I'm going to say, but hopefully you'll applaud me. I had, when I was in the Speaker's chair, I was instructed to throw you all out for clapping because it's against the standing orders, but you clap as hard as you want. Madam Speaker, can I say that we all travel to this place on a different spot. I come from a strong Conservative electorate. Gold Coast hinterland over to Toowoomba, predominantly farming, old Germans, old Scots, tilled the land, Protestants, Catholic, just hard-working, Scottish, generational streets named after, with those heritages. Largest contributor to GDP in my electorate is agriculture. They all go to church, and for every marriage bill that has come into this place, every marriage bill, I have voted no, and I've led the charge on it because my party, as part of party policy, had said that the traditional definition of marriage is between a man and a woman. That was my position. When I stood for pre-selection as an LNP candidate, I stood in front and when asked the questions by no less than 200 pre-selectors, with 7 other candidates that were looking to stand on my seat. One was an ex-minister of the Howard government. When asked what was going to be my position on marriage, I said that I would uphold the party position and that it would be a marriage between a man and a woman. And I'm a Catholic. I go to church. I had the fortunate privilege to catch up with our Archbishop of the diocese occasionally, and without telling you which diocese I'm in, he likes a Scotch. And we will talk about these things. My Catholic priest in my electorate is a great mate of mine. When I'm getting communion, I ask him, is the local rugby league squad, the Fastfoon Bombers, playing at home this weekend? And if they are, come and pick me up after church and we'll go to the football. You drive my car, I will drink beer, and then you drop me home afterwards. It's a great relationship. So I'm at odds with my party. I'm in line with my party position. I'm in line with my church's position. But what I'm not in line with is after the plebiscite, as I'm not in line with the views of my greater constituents base. And that became the basis of my ethical dilemma. Who is my master? Is it my church or my God? Who I've already established to you, they're great mates of mine. Is it the party that I owe the privilege of being able to stand in this place? Are they my master? So tonight I had a phone hookup with no less than 10 of my executives throughout my electorate. So I'm just under 8,000 square kilometres, very diverse electorate. We have branches and hierarchical structure, and I had 10 of them on the phone tonight. And I sought their counsel and said, this is my ethical dilemma. Where do I land? The results of my electorate come back that we had 80% participation rate, just on 80%, and in the electorate of Wright it was 57% yes and 43% no. I would have backed as confidently as I could have that my electorate was going to say no, because that's the circle of friends I associate with. So I was surprised when the result come back the way it was. I was surprised because it makes me question my judgment now. Am I a good member or not? Am I a good member? Because that I misread it. Because the blokes in the pub told me what their position was and it was similar to mine. My people at church told me what their position was. It was similar to mine. The people in the party told me. But I got it wrong. Come back the other way. And I drew counsel after speaking with my 10 executive from my maiden speech, and I made a commitment. To the people of Wright in my electorate, amongst other things, that I would be the voice of the silent majority, Madam Speaker, because so often the minority groups, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. I don't know if I said that wrong. I meant to say I would be the voice of the silent majority, that I would be the voice of the silent majority. And the silent majority in this case have whispered in my ear some passionate, and I tie it into the passion and commitment that you have shown on your cause and your journey, and for the benefit of Hansard, I refer to those in the gallery still. There will be some that have voted because they're just sick of hearing it and they want it dealt with and off the plate. They just want the government to get on with businesses which has greater effect on their lives. I don't know what that percentage breakdown is, I don't know what the split is, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, the number still stands. I don't have any emotional story. I have a cousin who's part of the gay community. I don't have those tear-jerking stories because I just don't. I have my faith and I have my party. So in the next day or two, I'm going to need to come into this chamber and make a vote, pass my vote. And my party has unleashed me. They've allowed me to vote in line with the electorate's wishes. Because how can one be the voice of the electorate if you turn a deaf ear to what they are saying? How can one lead, even though it is against my principles? It is against my principles. But I will come into this chamber and I will support. I have been caveated. To ask to try and get the protections for through minor amendment, not the complexity of the amendment that we saw in the Senate, for the protection of those religious freedoms. Now, I'm going to speak briefly to the protection of religious freedoms because everyone runs off in this crazy domain. I want to find the happy fulcrum between religious freedom and the freedom of speech. Because at the moment, if you say one thing, you're in front of the discrimination, you're in breach of the anti-discrimination regs or act, and the freedom of speech is still untested in that space. So I want to find some place where we land that admits Australia from the Supreme Court decision or decisions which we handed down virtually identical in the US at the moment. We should have those findings in the next day or two, and identical case virtually in the UK. I want to spare the communities here in Australia of those by making sure that we just grind our teeth and get it right, so that hardship that speakers, and I acknowledge the previous speaker's commentary on the hate that happened in certain areas. You know, in my area, there was no hate speech. You know, country people are so respectful. They may not like you, but you'll always get a cup of tea and a scone. You'll always get a feed, and yeah, absolutely. So it was to the electors of Wright who have asked me to be their voice, to be their casting vote in this place. I acknowledge them. Madam Speaker, I'm going to wrap up, but before I do, others have acknowledged many in this place. I'm just going to acknowledge two people before I go, because I think without those two people, we wouldn't be having this debate. And I acknowledge Tony Abbott, the former Prime Minister, who made a contribution to this debate by giving a commitment that he would ask the Australian public for their opinion, because without that opinion, I would have walked into this chamber every day of the week without question and voted no. Every day I would have voted no. It's only because I have this data in front of me, solid data, that I have found a different position. and Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull could have taken a juxtaposed position to what former Prime Minister did, because not all of their political ideologies are aligned. But on this, and they're not in this space, they're not. But the vehicle for passage of how this has got me into this place and has shifted my mind through the support of evidence has got me to the place where I am. I look forward to the days ahead, and I would ask Labor, and through my good friend and colleague from the seat of Perth, do not dismiss the journey I have taken to get here. Do not dismiss when I try and find reason in my heart to get an amendment to protect those people, those other 43% that are scared, that are frightened of this. Help me take them on the journey. Don't say no to the amendments. Have a good look at them first, and I'll debate you on the floor in good conscience, my friend.